Welcome. Today I'm going to walk you through a Fusion 360 and Autodesk program to design a flat pack seat. We're going to be creating a stool to be more specific. When you open Fusion 360, it will look something like this. And the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to create a few things within the program. So we know that we want to set our units so that we're all working in the same dimensions. And so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to document settings and click the little arrow here, and a drop down menu will come up. It will say units, and you're going to click on the little unit button here. And on the far side, opposite, is going to change active unit. So right now I'm in centimeters, but you can change it to whatever it might be. So say you were set in inches, then you need to change it. It's simple as that. You just go ahead and click on centimeters, and then I'm going to set centimeters as my default and then push OK so that I'm working in centimeters. The next thing I want to do in designing our stool is I want to set some parameters that are going to be a constant. So I'm going to go down here to change parameters and set some particulars. So user parameters, I'm going to put a little plus button here, and I'm going to name 3 things that I want to maintain. So one is wood thickness. You have to put wood underscore thickness. You can't put a space in between it. And then I'm going to set that as 1 centimeter. I'm also going to set another parameter as seat diameter. I'm going to set that to 36 centimeters. And then I'm also going to set my stool height. Centimeters, I'm going to set that to 45. So now we have that set, we can start our actual design process. We're going to push OK. And then our piece of artwork that we're creating is unsafe right now. That's okay. We're going to go and right click on it and create a new component. And it will show up on the far side, and you're going to name the component. The first one is going to be the actual seat that we're going to do. So seat, push OK, and it will show up over here. Go back to the main project. Again, right click it, new component. The next one's going to be called leg. And then we'll just start there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we select the right thing that we're going to be working on. We're going to be working on the seat first. So we need to make sure that the little circle bubble next to the word seat is selected so that we're working just within that section of our project. So what I want to do is I want to start a sketch. And so to do that, at the top of the page, there's this create sketch button. You can also click on the drop down menu and it will show up down here as well, create sketch. I'm just going to go ahead and select create sketch. And then I'm going to bring my arrow and it will ask me which plane I want to work on. And I want to do it on the bottom plane. So I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to click over here on my viewpoint, and I'm going to click top, so I have a top-down view. And I can click the home button whenever I want to, and it will readjust it. So there we go, I'm happy with that. Now I want to create a circle, so I'm going to go up here, a center diameter of circle, click on that. I'm going to start at the point of origin, and I'm just going to pull that out, and you're going to see that it already starts to tell me as I pull out wider how big my circle is. And we're going to just push delete, and it will delete those numbers. And you could type in 36 manually, but we've already set a parameter, so we can just type in the word seat diameter. There we go. We click it and push enter, and it will automatically set the size of our seat. So either way can work. But now what I want to do is I'm going to go over here to the Viewfinder. I'm going to click the home button so I can just see the thing in a better view. It's not too big that I can't see it. So now what I want to do is I want to say that I'm actually finished the sketch. I'm going to click on finish sketch at the top there, and I'm going to extrude it out, which means I'm going to give it some depth. Right now it's like a piece of paper. So up here there's an extrude button. Click it. I could just click this arrow and I could make it as fat or as wide as I wanted to, or thick as I wanted to, I should say. But we know that we've already got a wood thickness setting, so I can just type in this little box here, wood thickness boom, and then it will set it to the wood thickness, push enter, and it sets it. I could also have just typed in 1 centimeter, but this just makes it easier because we set those parameters earlier. All right, so now we have the seat done. We're gonna click off the seat and we're gonna start working on the leg. So I'm gonna click on the bubble there and that deselects the seat. And again, I'm gonna just go ahead and click on the sketch button. And this time I wanna work on a different plane. I don't wanna work on the bottom plane, I wanna work on the side. So I'm gonna click that and then I need to adjust this. So I'm gonna click on the right side over here and then I adjust it so that I can see the stool in the right view. So we are in sketch mode at the moment, and so I'm just gonna adjust myself here slightly. I can turn this as well. So right now, so I can see the grid that I'm working on. I like to have that grid, so you might need to adjust your view to a different side so you can see that. It just depends which plane you selected. So now we have everything in view here. I want to set up some construction lines to help me with my construction of the actual legs. So over here, there's a sketch palette. Under options, I'm going to just click on construction. And then I'm going to click on the line button over here. And I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to draw a line all the way down and through here and push enter. Make sure you push enter, otherwise it will keep drawing the line. And you'll see a dotted construction line will show up. So next I'm going to do the same thing over here on this side. Instead of going up and having to click on the line button every time, you can just push actually the letter L, and it will allow you to go ahead and select your points. And I'm just going to go all the way down here. I'm just going to push enter. And then what I want to do is I want to dimension this line. So I'm going to click on the dimension tool and pull this over and out. And now this dimension we already set. We want it to be the stool height. So I'm going to click on stool height and push enter. And then I'm going to just zoom out here. And I can use the little hand at the button to reposition things. Sometimes that's really helpful for us. And you can use the zoom in and out button as well, so you know when you're zooming in and out. If you have a mouse, you can just scroll in and out as well. That's sometimes really helpful. I'm going to go back to my select tool. I'm going to draw this construction line down a little bit further just to help me out. And now I'm going to begin actually creating my, actually I'm going to add one more construction line just from this point over to this point, somewhere like this, and push enter. Okay, so I'm going to take construction line off. So I'm now going to be working on just standard lines that will be designing the actual outline of our stool. So I'm going to go again, L for line, and I'm going to draw a line from this point over, because I know that is the height, and I'm going to push enter. And I want to set this so that whenever I create or adjust the height of my stool, that I can make sure that it's going to adjust the distance between or the different parts of my leg. So I'm going to click on the dimension part, and then I've clicked on the line already, so I'm going to push enter. And right now it's 10.07, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to just go here and I'm going to say stool height, and I'm going to divide that by, let's say 6. What would that give us? So if I divide that by 6, that's a 7.5 centimeter thick leg. So I think that sounds good. Next, I'm going to draw another line, and this line is going to go from the bottom point of our leg all the way up to just underneath of the stool. I'm going to push enter there. And I want to dimension the distance from here to here to be this a set dimension. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on the dimension tool. I'm going to click the point that I made there. And oh, I didn't make a point on this line here. So I can just select that line. and then push enter. And I'm going to set that to be, let's set that at roughly around 5 centimeters. So if we say stool height and divide that by 9, that'll give us a 5 centimeter distance from the outside of our stool in. Next, I'm going to draw a line from underneath of the stool and over. Again, press enter. And I want the dimensions between the bottom of the stool to here to be a set height. So I'm going to select this line in my construction line, and I'm going to pull this over. And I'm going to change that to be, again, stool height divided by 3. So about 15 centimeters. And that will adjust it accordingly. And then I'm going to draw another line, so push the letter L for line. I'm going to snap onto this point and connect it down here, and then press enter. However, these lines don't look like they're exactly the same distance apart from each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a parameter. I'm going to select my parallel line tool and select this line, and then they will become parallel, which is exactly what we want. So our line is looking great. It's going all the way around. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in here to the top to draw the part of the stool that's going to go into the seat to hold it in place. So again, line. I'm going to snap onto this line, going to go over here, press enter, and then I'm going to draw another line from the end of that point up, enter, and then one last line from this point over here. Going to dimension some of these things. So the dimension of this should be our wood thickness. Click on that, press enter. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on these lines. Now, sometimes you might need to go over to select and then selection filters and say select through. If that one's not ticked, you might not be able to grab these lines so easily. So make sure you have that. So I'm going to dimension, as I said, these lines. I'm going to select this line, pull it up. And I'm going to do that, again, the stool height. And we're going to divide that by, let's say 6. And let's divide it by 5. Nope. I don't want it bigger, I want it smaller, so I went the wrong way. Let's try 7. Stool height divided by 6.5. Stool height divided by 6. I'm just going to go 6.5. I wanted it close to 7, so I was just playing with the numbers there to adjust it accordingly, which is great. It does all the calculations for you. So now I noticed that this line is shrunk over, and so what I want to do is I want to actually fix this so that it stays on the center. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to draw another construction line. So a line, select construction, goes from this point up here, press enter. And then I'm going to select this, hold shift and select this line. I'm going to fix these so they stay in place. So I'm just going to right click and then fix in place. And then I can use this button up here at the top, it's called coincidence, and I can select it, click this point and hold it so that it sticks right to that line, so that everything is going to make sure that it stays in its place. And then this length will just automatically adjust. So now we have all of the parts for our leg. So I'm just going to slightly zoom out here so I can see all of my leg. And now what I need to do is I need to select the different parts. I'm just trying to get it just in view here. Okay, and I'm going to mirror this side onto this other side of the stool. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select all of the lines that I drew. So one, and make sure you hold down Shift when you're selecting these. You might need to zoom in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then don't forget the bottom of our stool. Okay, so now you can see I've selected all the parts that we've created. And now what I'm going to do is click on the mirror button. And then it says I've selected 7 parts, which was exactly what I counted. And then mirror line, so where I'm going to mirror it from here. And then there we go. We have the whole thing mirrored over. And I'm going to push OK. And then it mirrors my leg, so you can see. And then I'm actually finished my sketch, so I'm going to push Finish Sketch. And there we have our leg. So I can go ahead, I'm going to look at it from the home view, and you can see that the leg is there. We're going to do the same thing we did with the seat, is we're going to extrude it out. So I'm going to select the leg, and I'm going to extrude. And over here on the side, it comes up, and I want to, it's going to, right now it says direction to one side. So it's selecting from the center, it's going to extrude to one side. And I want it to be 1 centimeter, right? Oops, sorry, I'm just going to undo that. I'm going to click on that again. Sorry, extrude. And when I put 1 centimeter in here, it's extruding to one side, but I actually want it to be right in the center of the stool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that from one side to symmetric. But what you're going to notice is it extrudes 1 centimeter on both sides of the center line, which is not what I want. So I need to do, actually, why don't I do wood thickness and then divide that by 2, or you could just type in 0.5. Okay, and then it will put it right there exactly in the center. So now we have the beginnings of what's looking like a stool. It's looking great. And we're going to create our next leg. So instead of drawing this all out again, I can just copy this leg and use it the same size before I prepare any holes or anything in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to leg. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to select up here the main project, right click, and then I'm going to go down here. I'm going to say paste new. And the reason why I'm pasting new is I don't want whatever changes I make to leg 1 to also change leg number 2. So you need to make sure you say as new, like a new one. If you just paste, it will, whatever changes you make to one will happen to the other. Now, I need to grab over here and I need to turn it, and then I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. And there we have our stool. It's looking great. However, these pieces are not going to fit together like this unless we put some holes in the top of the lid to hold it together and in the legs to lock them into each other as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw the locking mechanism in the legs. So I'm going to hide the seat and I'm going to rename this to leg number 2. And I'm going to hide that one as well, so that I can just see one of these legs. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select that, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new sketch. So I'm going to go sketch, capture position. Yep, that's okay. I had already selected that side there. So I don't want the right side, I want the front side. I'm going to zoom in here, position it so I can see everything perfectly. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create a notch inside the center here. So again, I'm going to create a construction line. Click on construction, and I'm going to do that right through the center all the way up to the top here, and then press enter so I can have a guided line. Next, I'm going to draw a normal line, so I'll get rid of construction, click on line, and I'm going to select from the top, and I'm just going to pull it down, push enter. And I'm going to dimension this. So I'm going to select my dimension tool. And if you recall, I said the height of this was our stool height divided by 3. So what I want to do is, and that was from the just underneath of the stool point to here. So we need to do that plus the thickness that we go into the stool. So I'm going to just click select on the diameter of this line. And so I'm going to make a bracket, double bracket, and I'm going to say stool height, which is what we said, divided by 3 was the first part. And then we need to also add in, so plus the wood thickness, the top part, wood thickness, and our bracket. And then I want that line to be just right in the middle of my, the distance from the top here to the underneath part here. So I'm going to divide that by 2. I'm going to press enter, and it will automatically adjust the length of that line. Next, I'm going to go ahead and create another line. So L for line, and I'm just going to connect it to the center point there. And then I'm going to press enter, and then dimension this to be, oh, we need to select that, to be our wood thickness, and our wood thickness divided by 2, because I'm going to mirror it over onto the other half. So you can see our line looking really good. So the same thing we did before, we're just going to go to our select button. We're going to select these 2 lines. I need to zoom in. Make sure you hold down shift when you select it. It should turn blue like this. And then all we're going to do is going to mirror it. So click on the mirror tool. And then where the 2 items are selected, and I'm going to select the mirror line. So I'm going to click on the mirror line. And then I'm going to push OK. And I'm going to say finish sketch. I've got my part done. So I'm going to go ahead and get a better view. So click the home button. So now that we've got out here, what we need to do is we need to take the part that we just drew and extrude it, or subtract it from the leg so that we can create that notch. So what you're going to do is you're going to click the extrude button, and then you'll be able to select on the cutout part that you just had created. Select that, and then a little arrow will show up, and you can just pull that back, and that will allow you to subtract the space. Okay, so then I'm just going to push OK. And you'll see that it's taken out the section of the stool that we no longer need. So that's great. Now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to turn on the other leg that we have. And what I want to do is I want to use the cut from the first leg to modify the second leg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that as combine it. So I can use the modify tool, combine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, the target body is the new one, so I'm going to select the target body, and the tool body select is going to be the one where we created the hole already, and we're not going to join them, but what we're going to do is we're going to cut out the other one. So I'm going to push cut, and then I'm going to keep the tool, and then I'm going to push OK. And what that does, if I hide now leg number 1, you can see all of leg number 2 there with the hole on the bottom. So there we go. We have our different components all here now. And so what I'm going to do is the last part is for the stool, the top of the stool, is we're going to then do the same thing to that. So I've selected, I'm going to modify, I've selected the target body, and then I'm going to do the same thing. Tool body is going to be leg 1 and leg 2, and I'm going to cut and keep the tool, push OK, and then if I hide both of the legs, and I just go back to, right now I'm just selecting the leg. Let's go back to the whole thing so we get a better view. If I hide both of the legs, you can see that I've now cut out the hole in the top of the stool. So you got to make sure that so you can see better views. It depends on which view if you're just selecting leg one, you're going to be working only on that plane. So it's better when you are doing these things if you actually move back to your whole project so you can see everything you're working on. So now we have all of the parts of our stool put together. I'm going to just put everything into view so we can see it, make sure all of the views are on. And it looks quite good. You've created your first stool. So in our next class, what we'll do is we'll start making some working drawings from this, but this is the objective that I wanted you to do today, is just to create your first stool.